Welcome to the Damp Show with me, Dampsam. I've got this video today by a guy called Ryan. He's done it to help people decide whether they want to start plastering and doing a wall for themselves, or even if they want to start getting into plastering. So let's get into it.
Hello, my name's Ryan Seeley.
Hey, Ryan.
And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to skim a wall.
That looks a bit thin, that, mate. Prep.
As this wall is not a plasterboard wall, the first thing we need to do is prepare the surface.
When he picks that brush up,
this is done by applying a coat of PVA watered down at a ratio of 1:1 to the entire surface of the wall.
Or you can do it 2:1.
Once applied, you should allow the PVA to dry until tacky to the touch.
That's
the ideal time for us to start applying our plaster to the surface of the wall.
I've applied PVA and we've skimmed it the next day and we've never had any issues. It's a mechanical key and plaster will stick to it, especially multi-finish, which can stick to most surfaces.
So let's have a look at some of the things we'll need. There's multi-finish.
Yeah.
A couple of buckets for holding your clean water.
Yeah.
And also you want one for washing out.
Yeah.
A trowel. Now I've got a flexi trowel and a standard trowel, but either should be fine for a beginner.
Yeah.
A hook.
And it looks, and I'll comment on this, his trowel looks as if it's had some use. A bit mucky for my liking on face of it, but it does look as if it's had some use. And I don't mean that bucket trowel, I mean his normal trowel, which most of the videos I've been commenting on, they've not got, they don't look as if they've got any use in the trowels.
A gauging trowel, an angle tool, a spatula, and a splash brush.
I'm suspicious now. He's got a spatula. Suspicious. You've got two fucking trowels, mate. Use them. Be using a spatula that's half the size of your trowel.
Brush. You'll want something to mix the plaster in, a mixing tub, and something to mix the plaster with, a whisk.
What's he putting in here? Look at the state of that mixer. That is filthy. I've spoke about this before. That is absolutely disgusting. He's definitely not washed that off last time he's used it. Look at all plaster that's built up. And what happens is, when that's swirling around, spinning around its side, little bits of hard plaster, what's built up there, it'll go into mix. And he'll end up with like chippings in it, dragging across his plaster when he's skimming. It takes 2 minutes to just clean it. Put it in some water at end, and then brush it down. Spin it round in bucket. Get it to a nice custardy, creamy, bit thicker than custard.
If you look closely, I'll show you the correct consistency.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of leeway, people do prefer different things, but it's not too dissimilar from yogurt, and the way to get there is to keep adding plaster to the water and never water to plaster.
I think if it's like yogurt, it's a bit too thin, Brian.
You want to go in small stages and just keep mixing until it's completely free of lumps.
Yeah.
And looking something like that.
Yeah. What are you going to do with that? Just put it on fucking side, dirty bastard. That's what I like to see.
The final stage of preparation is just to give all the tools a quick.
Ugh! It was filthy. I thought it were on him. Look at the state of this fucking trowel. You dirty bastard, Ryan. Look at that. It takes 2 minutes to get your scraper and just scrape that down while you're waiting for your wall to go off. Just scrape it down and scrape front. There's no tip rules that says you can't keep your tools clean. I always look at tradesmen's tools, and especially the trowels. And if the trowels are filthy and the mixing stuff, I'm very, very suspicious. Very suspicious. All the best plasterers, as I've said in videos before, are clean.
Wet down to prevent the plaster from sticking. Now we're ready to apply the plaster.
See, other video that I watched, one by a woman, She told everybody to start on left, which is, this is what you do. First class, start at left, up at top. Brian starting at top, on left. Textbook. The other guy, he started on right, and then at halfway up wall. Have a look for that video. You might like that one. He's had 2.5 million views, that other guy as well.
Plaster, you always start in the top left-hand corner of the wall, and you move from left to right, coming down to about halfway down the wall.
Well
this is known as putting on the tops.
What's them fucking things you've got on your... What's it got up here? What's it got them on for? I don't understand. Why has it got ear protectors on?
We come back to the left-hand side, start from the bottom, and come up to meet the plaster halfway up the wall.
What you got ear protectors on for, right?
The only exception to this is if you're left-handed, you do it in the reverse. You go from right to left.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
The first coat will be applied around 2mm thick.
Yep.
And the second coat will be applied around 1mm thick, making a total of 3mm.
I think it all depends. Don't be listening to millimeters and millimeters. Just use that as a guide. You put it on, and it just needs to be. If it needs to be thicker in places and needs to be thinner in places, you're wanting it flat overall. So this is why we're experienced plasterers and them that's just starting. They can't get it in their heads because they've been told 2mm, and they'll follow lumps and waves in wall and keep it at 2mm, where a decent old plasterer or an experienced plasterer will just fill them oils in just because he wants to get that wall flat either way, up, down, across, diagonal.
What you want to do is take a little bit of plaster off of the hawk with the trowel, like so, which you can then apply straight to the wall using firm and consistent pressure to spread the plaster nice and evenly.
That's a good description, that, Brian. See, one of the things that I'd say is he looks quite tall, old Brian there, and I reckon he could put it on at bottom here because it don't look a big room, and his spread could have gone all the way up there and probably more than that to about there, and he'd have only had to like put a strip across the top there, and he could have done big strokes, and that would have made it quicker for him. But what he's doing is plastered it down to about there, and then he's going from there to there. And what he needs is a bigger handboard. It's like a postage stamp, that fucking thing that he's got. Get one of them Marshall Time ones, dry liners handboard, what I use. It's as big as his thigh. Proper man's handboard.
And that's the first coat complete.
Well done.
If you're plastering more than one wall, remember to run in the angles between the coats of plaster.
Yep.
Wash off your tools and get ready for the second coat.
Fucking stay to that. So, this is his skimming trowel, right? So you see this film? This is like all a film of plaster, and this will all scrape off, and then these dots that run up middle. There's no need for this to be all shitted up like that. All he's to do is get scraper while he's waiting for that to go off, and then just scrape it down, because it's stainless steel. It comes up like brand new. You do that, then you do it back. It takes me about 3 minutes to do mine, if that, 2 minutes, and I usually do mine before I start plastering. So while labourers mixing up, I'll just scrape it down. Have some pride in your work, mate. Make sure your tools are clean. On with the show.
The second coat. You'll need to mix up again, and this mix for the second coat needs to be a little bit more runny than the first coat, and you'll need about half as much.
Yep, half as much.
the second coat is more or less exactly the same to apply as the first.
That's the guide that we set. However much you mix up for first coat. So if you mix a full bucket, mix round about half a bucket for second. I always mix just over, and then but I make sure it all goes on wall. Never leave any waste. Always put it all on wall. You see, I see plasters, and there's massive great rocks of plaster everywhere because they've mixed too much up. It's just costing you money if you're not working for a company anyway. And then when you if you make sure that your first coat's all flattened off, your second coat should go on like a dream.
As the first coat, the only difference is you'll want to make sure that you're a little bit neater and take a little more care getting it nice and flat, because it'll make a big difference when it comes to troweling up.
Yep, agree with you there, Bri. What was that? Somebody in fucking doorway. What's he doing? I wonder if that's bloke whose house it is. Hope he's not a burglar. Fucking Brian's not even listening. Brian's got his fucking earphones on. Fucking hell. Ignorant. I bet he's like telling him something. I bet he's telling him a story. He'll be bored out in his fucking ear. Then he's like, oh, fuck that. I fucking hate it when he's talking. And I'm sticking my earphones on. Sound reduction.
As you can see, I'm just pressing the plaster right into the skirting board.
There. Did you see that?
Right down the line and making sure that all the little
Look there. All these things. Look there. That's all shit off his trowel. This is what I'm talking about. He's got and that mixing thing that he's got. All them bits there that's pulling up. They're all hard bits off it. Mixing
of the fact that as I'm moving the trowel, the angle of the trowel to the wall is kept consistent as it glides over it.
It's not fucking gliding over it with all them rocks in off your fucking
wobbling the trowel,
mixing
which would give a ripple effect
thing
on the wall.
If you cleaned it, you're having to do that twice as much work. Absolutely filthy. Absolutely filthy, Bri. What the fuck's this he's got here? It's postage stamp fucking handboard. That brush looks like a fucking banger's gone off in it. Okay. You don't normally. That's only you're only doing that for camera. Look at the state of it. It's filthy. He needs a new brush. When it goes fat like that brush, it means that the old ones have got all like vermiculite in it. Troweling up. Let's have a look at him troweling up. Come on, Bri. Cutting it in. That's where coving is.
So you want to scrape down those edges, just clean them off as you go. The plaster's still quite soft, it's started to firm up a little bit, but...
Oh, he's a splasher. Reason why he's splashing water on wall is because if he tried to brush it, this is why I say invest in yourself, invest in your tools. He's probably had that about 3 months, and it's, well, probably longer, probably had it about 6 months, and he's either left it in water bucket and it's expanded. So if he tried to brush water on wall, it'd just make marks. But if it were a newer type of brush, it's a lot. The bristles are a lot better for painting water on. So what he's been shown when he were younger is somebody splashing it, splashing water all over the wall. It'll be all over the floor and everything. This is where I'm saying the difference between a professional who's been doing it a long time, who's clean, who's good at the job. It's just not about putting loads on and earning a bit of money. It's about being a clean plasterer. These are what gives us bad name. give plasterers a bad name when all your tools are shitted up. You're covered in stuff. Look like you've been putting bucket and mixing up in bucket yourself.
It's definitely soft enough to get it off of the coving and the surrounding walls and the skirting board now, rather than letting it go hard and struggle scraping it off later.
You see, you could pull that further down. That's it. Pull it further down,
Splash
mate.
a little bit of water on the wall to keep the surface nice and lubricated, and then start troweling up. Nice firm pressure in a downward stroke. For quite a shallow angle from the trowel to the wall. You don't want too sharp of an angle, otherwise you'll take the plaster off.
Well, sometimes you can take it off. Take it off
before,
one place, put it on another.
Starting in the top left, moving right, and then doing the same from the bottom, left to right.
It's a nice sized trowel though, I'll give him that. It's too big for his fucking handboard. You need a bigger handboard, mate. What's the point in having a fucking a trowel bigger than your handboard? This is why plasterers have got to keep the sense fit. And then you can have a bigger handboard. If you've got arms like fucking cotton, you'll not be able to hold it up properly when it's got some stuff on. Well, good thing there, you see it, all shit that's off his drill, off his
you want to make sure you
whisk.
keep cleaning off your trowel, keep wiping it clean with your brush, and going back to the bucket and just washing it down.
All these bits here that's in fucking plaster. I'm looking over at top because I can see it better on monitor, so I'm looking through my phone here. I can see when he's getting a drag. Did you notice handle on his corner trowel?
Now the second trowel is almost
full of
the same as
plaster.
the first.
Again,
Just keep the surface greased with water, just lightly.
Any plasterers that's got plaster all over your handles, all shitted up, you end up with calluses on your hands. There's no need. Keep them clean. If you get some shit on your hands, wash them. Wash them in water bucket, wash them in sink. If you get any on your handle, on your trowel, just brush it off. You clean your trowel and brush that off. Just brush it off on handle if you get any on. And it does happen, but they can't be arsed. Lazy. This is lazy plastering and dirty. Dirty boy, in your bed.
Water, just lightly misted with it. A little bit of a splash on there. And then you're basically just moving the water on the surface, applying nice firm pressure, and you can increase the angle of the trowel a little just to get a bit of a sharper edge. If you damage the plaster while troweling up, you just want to use a little bit of fat off the end of your trowel just to fill in the hole and nicely smooth over it.
Try not to fill it in with fat. Always scrape some off onto your side of your bucket. If you scrape a bit off on the side of your bucket, and then if you do dig into the wall, that plaster will be soft enough to just fill in. So you could have it on the side of your brush, and you just pick it off and you can put it in, rather than filling it in with fat. If you fill it in with fat is like a mixture of water and watery plaster. So what happens is when you fill it with that, when it dries out, it evaporates because it's mostly water, and it leaves a scab. So it leaves a hollow, an indent. So that's a bit of bad advice by him, which I'm not surprised, because his tools are filthy. Come on, Bri, knock about. Pub's opening 12 o'clock. Who's that? It's gone past with brush. Struggling in that corner. Struggling, Bri.
So that's the second trowel more or less done.
Fucking taking the time.
All that's left to do is brushing those edges and the angles.
What's happening with spatula?
Make sure everything's nice and smooth and clean. And then we're on to the cross trowel. Now the cross is basically just a polish. You're flicking a bit of water on and then just really sharp angle on the trowel and just pushing it back and forth along the trowel.
Well, what you should be doing, Brian, is you should be going one way and then other as it's setting. So up, down from top, all the way across, then up, wait a bit, and then next time, then you go across. And then you come in from that side, you go across. Wait a bit, and then you go down. And then up. Wait a bit, and then across. That what you're doing is probably a final trowel. I don't know what spatula thing's for. Is it making some food?
Horizontal from top to bottom. Lots of pressure on the cross trowel as well. Really press it in. Now with the cross trowel finished, you've got a nice and smooth, freshly skimmed wall.
It looks like we were doing two walls. It didn't show us the other one, did it? Oh, right. So that were all right. I'll just sum video up. So really brilliant for teaching young plasterers. Some good tips there, really good tips. Some poor ones. I mean, if you're gonna video your son and put it on for nearly 1 million people, what you need to be doing is making sure that your tools are clean. Mixing thing was filthy, your trowel was filthy, your trousers were filthy. Just smart your son up, clean your son up. You know what I mean? That's just my criticism of Rye. And but to get people into plastering, this is what we're wanting. This is what we're wanting. So well done for that video. 10 years, like I said before, just getting hang at it. Somebody needs to teach him about keeping his stuff clean, because obviously he's not doing it. He's been brought up with what he's taught him, with what his I don't know, boss as they'll have been mucky. They'll have had their tools will have been shitted up, and he's just learnt off him. So it's probably not his fault. He's a product of his environment, as they'd say. So if you're with somebody who's clean and get taught good ways of doing things, good ways of looking after your tools and stuff like that, then you'll do it. You not even think about it. You just do it automatically. Whereas told Bry, filthy. And they have this argument. They'll have this argument. They say, well, as long as the job gets done, what's it matter? It matters because it looks shit, mate. All right, you know what I mean? It's just unprofessional. But if it gets people into plastering, fine. But make sure you clean your tools. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't copy him as far as his tools are concerned. But enjoy the video. That's Dampsam signing off. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments in comments. And like I said, if you want to go on our Facebook page, put your videos on, put your pictures on. It's called Why Is My Property Damp, Dampsam? And we'll point you in the right direction. So if you've got damp issues, we'll point you in the right direction. There's a damp community. There's a couple of thousand there. So join us. And like I said, if you're worried about damp, we'll point you in the right direction. See you at next then. Bye-bye now.